I'm Phil. I'm here to share with you what it's like living with end-stage renal failure. On my last video about an unexpected assessment that I had, I mentioned that my kidneys are getting bigger. After I'd uploaded that, I realized that unless you have watched the first one or two videos I ever did on this channel, which was quite a while ago, um, that may not make a lot of sense to you. So I'm going to spend today just giving a rough picture of what's happening with my kidneys and why. So, first thing to know is I have a disease called polycystic kidney disease, which, funnily enough, means I've got a lot of cysts on my kidneys. This disease is passed on genetically, and that means I've had this disease since before I was born, actually. And over the time since then, both my kidneys and the cysts have been getting bigger, and the cysts have been getting more numerous. In fact, in my case, they've migrated to my liver as well, which is not unusual for other organs to become involved at sort of this stage of the disease. Anyway, obviously, because I'm on dialysis, part of the disease is that my kidneys stop working. They stop filtering out the poisons in my blood. But if that wasn't bad enough, the supersized kidneys cause some problems as well. So let me just explain to you what that means. So, firstly, um, I get rubbing. So kidneys and cysts rub on my ribs, on my spine, on my other organs. I suspect they rub on my pelvis as well, but I'm not 100% certain about that. I know the kidneys go down below that. Um, in the back, the pain is kind of a dull pain. And you might rate it about a 6 or a 7 out of 10, and it can last for a few hours. Um, because it's dull, I kind of find it easy to push through with it. That doesn't mean it doesn't affect me. Um, it's very exhausting, to be honest. In the front, in the front of my abdomen, I will get stabbing pains rather than the sort of a dull rubbing pain in the back. Now, the pain in the front doesn't last as long. It might last a few seconds. Um, but I'm tender around the area where the pain was for quite a while afterwards. Now, like all the other symptoms related to big kidneys, this is quite tiring carrying the pain around. When it comes to this sort of pain from the rubbing, the only uh, pain relief that I've found that's worked well is oxycodone, which you may know is extremely addictive. So I actually try and use it as little as possible. I don't use it until the pain gets to the point that I'm unable to carry on with whatever I'm doing. Usually, uh, so that's the rubbing side of it. Now, another thing that the big kidneys do is they compete for space in my body for um, compete for space with my other organs. So, by way of example, my diaphragm gets squashed quite easily. If I'm bending over, so if I bend over to get dressed, to put on some socks or shoes or trousers or something. If I'm bending over at the kitchen sink to do the dishes, if I lean too far in to get something out of the sink, if I'm standing up from being in a sitting position in a chair, usually a recliner, this is when that'll happen. I'll be out of breath for quite a while afterwards. Um, it's not just the moment when I'm bending over, where I get breathless. It's actually for a while afterwards. So I'm not sure whether that means my diaphragm is just taking a while to recover or there's something else going on. I don't know, but that certainly is related to having big kidneys. Um, Now all my organs in there are a bit cramped, but the other one where I notice um, effects that bother me all the time is my stomach and bowels. Um, I've had problems with constipation for years now. Um, I'm on a fairly high dose of laxatives every day to keep things running. Uh, Now I know that the size of my kidneys is affecting this. It is true that sometimes when you get renal failure, the flora in your gut changes. But uh, when I am feeling overfull, which can sometimes be just after a normal meal, in fact, it's quite often after a normal meal, I'll get pain at a certain spot on my back, and it's a pressure rather than a pain. And when I've had a bowel movement, that pressure reduces or goes away, which to me is a fairly good sign that there's not enough room for my stomach and bowels to do their thing in there. So the final thing that I think I'd like to mention is when I'm sitting upright in a chair, like a straight back chair. At the moment, I'm leaning forward over my stomach, which gives it a bit more room to stretch out. But in a straight back chair, um, my stomach and its contents, all the organs and that get crushed. Um, when this first started happening, it was inconvenient. It made traveling long distances quite difficult. And sort of at that point that my wonderful wife started doing a lot of the driving. Um, it's gotten worse in the last few months. So now I'm at the point now where I can drive to my doctor's, who is about 10 minutes away, and I'll be a bit uncomfortable and maybe starting to feel a bit sick in the stomach, but I can manage it. However, I have in the past taken myself off to Wanganui Hospital to drop off biological waste from dialysis and driven myself back, and it has been a problem. But now, uh, if I'm in the driver's seat sitting straight up and I drive to Wanganui, I'm feeling like I want to be sick by the time I get there. It's not really safe for me to be driving back feeling like that. So the passenger seat in the car is reclined back, so I look like a boy racer who forgot to grow up. Um, and my wife does most of the driving. I do try to drive myself down to the doctor when I'm going there or somewhere in our local town when I need to go somewhere. Um, but it's getting worse and worse, so I don't know how long that's gonna last. And the reason that we had to do that review in the previous video was that um, all of these symptoms have been a problem for some years, but in the last three, 3 and a bit months, maybe 4 months, they've been getting a lot worse. And the conclusion drawn from the review was my kidneys are just getting bigger. Uh, and obviously, we're waiting to see what we can do about it. If you are interested in more insight into what it's like to live with end stage renal failure, check out my channel.